All I'm going to say is this. Joe Biden passed the Real ID, which means everything that you would need to prove who you are to vote with the SAVE Act they're complaining about, you need for the Real ID. Not one Democrat had a problem with the Real ID for you to fly, but they have a problem with the SAVE Act. Make that make sense.
You are a woman, you are married, you changed your name, and it doesn't match what is on your birth certificate, you are not going to be able to vote. If you are disabled and you can't physically get to an office to register, you are no longer going to be able to register online. This is not about creating election integrity.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Star Key Forums. My name is Samantha, but I am so excited. Finally, we're getting control of federal elections. So the SAVE Act just passed the House, and 4 Democrats came over to vote with them. Now, there's a few more things that have to happen before it can actually go on up. Congress has to pass it, and then President Trump can sign it. But of course, Democrats are having a fit. This is what they're saying.
Your birth certificate, a legal name that matches your citizenship documents, or transportation to get to a government office, you would not be able to register to vote under the SAVE Act. A dangerous bill that the U.S. House of Representatives is about to vote on this week. Let me break it down. The SAVE Act would make everyone register to vote in person only, require proof of citizenship like a passport or a birth certificate. At least 21 million voters don't have or can't access.
Between $24 $28 for a certified birth certificate at your local clerk of court's office. So guys, I need your help. I know you guys get tired of hearing it. I get tired of saying it, but YouTube stole my money, folks. So if you would like to donate to our channel, donate to our farm, or any of the programs that we do here to feed the less fortunate off what we grow for free, please feel free to do so. If you look in the top of comments, there's 4 different ways that you can support our channel. God bless you guys. In the state that you were born. And if you don't live there anymore, but your parents do, or you have friends, you can call the clerk or court's office and they can pick it up for you. They'll even mail it to you. A certified copy, they'll mail it to your new address.
Shut down online and mail-in voter registration overnight. This bill specifically targets 69 million women who have legally changed their names after getting married and they don't have a birth certificate that matches their legal name.
Of course, your birth certificate does not match your married name, which is your legal name, if you changed your name, sweetheart. So how do you remedy that? Folks, listen how easy this is. A marriage certificate costs $14 in the state of Louisiana for a certified marriage certificate. Yeah, that's it. You bring your marriage certificate with your birth certificate and your ID, and you go in and register to vote. Oh my gosh. It's like going to the bank and opening up a bank account. Oh, wait. You have to do that in person? I wonder how many millions of people can't access that too.
Millions of young people and rural voters who often register to vote online or by mail. And
actually, I'm about as rural as you get, and I drive 20 minutes to vote each and every time, sweetheart. Every time. And any of the people around me that don't have a vehicle, even if they're Democrat, I'll pick them up. They can ride with Sam.
11% of voters of color who don't have easy access to citizenship documents. Mind you, this includes 56% of Black Americans who don't have a valid passport. So to be
discriminatory, because Black people don't have documents. They don't have documents. I live in a Black community, folks. People have all the documents they need to get their children enrolled in school, to get food stamps, to get Medicaid. They don't have any problem working those programs. But you're going to tell me that somehow they would have an issue proving they're a U.S. citizen. All my Black friends work. They have direct deposit into their bank accounts. And guess what you need to open a bank account? Proof that you are who you say you are. I think this is the most racist, ignorant thing the Democrats have come up with for a long time. But the reason that they're saying this is because there is a higher percentage of poor blacks, right? And poor whites and poor Hispanics that don't have documents. So I wanted to show you how easy this is. $35 to get a copy of your marriage certificate to prove, married ladies, you are who you are if you changed your last name. $35. That's all it takes. If you need a copy of your birth certificate, this is how much it costs. And guess what you have to be in the military? You have to have a copy of your original birth certificate, because it even said military people would have trouble proving who they are. They're grasping at every and any straw to stop this from going through. I've seen women on TikTok claiming that married women will no longer be allowed to vote in the United States as the SAVE Act passes.
That's why a bill that Congress wants to fast track for passage is so dangerous. It's called the SAVE Act, and it's being pushed by the president's political allies. This SAVE Act masquerades as a reasonable election security bill. But the president, the bill's sponsors, and opponents of democracy everywhere know its true purpose: to end American elections as we know them. How would they do that? By going after your right to vote.
And the ignorance is beyond me. I've not just been married one time, and I've got all the documents I need. I have my Social Security, my old one with my maiden name. I have my birth certificate with my maiden name. I have my new Social Security with my married name, my license with my married name, and guess what else I have? I have a marriage certificate. Why? Because all those documents are required for me to have a bank account, for me to even get my license with my married name. I had to bring my marriage certificate. So I don't want to hear that SAVE Act is going to somehow discriminate. The only thing it's going to do is stop illegal aliens from voting in our federal elections. I've heard people say, well, it's going to put the burden on the states to make sure. Of course it is. Of course it is. And if your state can't manage their money enough to clean their rolls up, the voter rolls up, then you're in trouble, because it means quite a few illegals are already voting. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. If somebody is too lazy to get their documents in this day and age in 2025 to prove who you are, then personally, I don't think you should be able to vote. Because I don't think that you are of the mindset to be able to really look at the issues you're voting at and understand them. That's what Democrats are freaking out over. Simple proof of who you actually are, folks. And this is what they said. It's already illegal. You have to give your word that you won't vote in a federal election. These are people that broke into your country illegally. And you want them to just give their words. Your words are not any good anymore. It doesn't make any sense to me how anybody could argue against this. It's racist to even say that black people don't have documents or are unable to get them. You go to the courthouse. The courthouse. The clerk of court in your county or parish can give you everything that you need to be able to vote. Here's a better one. They had no problem under Joe Biden passing these new IDs for flying, right? That's going to be the biggest pain in the behind, because now I have to go back up there. I have to get a new identification. I have to pay for it out of my own pocket if I want to fly. Because under Joe Biden, we have to have the new ID to fly on a plane. So I have to bring my birth certificate, have to bring my marriage license, have to bring my Social Security, have to bring 2 bills with my name and address on them. To get a new ID, it's going to cost me $27 so that my husband and I can fly. No Democrats had a problem with that.
DACA, you can apply for the real ID. You'll be able to do so and be able to travel in the United States with that ID. Essentially, any person that can prove their legal presence in the United States can apply. And the real ID is a driving license or an ID card. So all US citizens can apply for it, green card holders, people with temporary legal status like DACA, TPS, and if you have any of the employment visas like H-1B, J-1, O-1, you can also apply for the real ID. If you're a student in legal status, you can also apply for that one. If you have DACA, your real ID will expire on the date your DACA expires and you have to renew it. Questions?
And that's just a fly, right? We have illegals with no identification. They do not have to prove who they are. They have these little pieces of paper that says that they can fly. Nobody asked them for identification. They're flying all over this country with no form of identification. But you and I have to have a new ID to fly in the country that we actually belong in. You got a problem with the SAVE Act. Y'all gonna have to do better. Americans are waking up. This is why Democrats are flooding away from that party. I mean, the ignorance that we have to prove who we are to fly in the sky, but not to vote in a federal election. This is why we have to save our country now. Right now in England, there is a school that is not going to have Easter celebrations because they don't want to offend all of the illegal immigrants in their country.
That this change may be disappointing for some, especially those who have cherished these traditions over the years. However, we believe that this decision aligns with our values of inclusivity and respect for diversity. We are exploring alternative ways to celebrate the season in future years that will be inclusive of all children and reflect the rich cultural diversity of our community. One of the ways we will be celebrating inclusivity is by taking part in Refugee Week, which occurs in June, as well as beginning our journey to become an accredited school of sanctuary. Watch this space. In the meantime, we look forward to seeing many of you at the music festival. Whoop whoop. Anyway, so that's the excuse.
Oh boy. So compassion can reach a point where it becomes unhealthy, unholy, and unhelpful. And that is trying to accommodate the weakest, the most unhealthy, the most broken, the most soft members of a society. When you do that, you then neglect the majority, you neglect the strong, you neglect the healthy, and you neglect the capable. And that
They're electing Muslims to all of their mayors. All the mayors in England and all these little towns are Muslim. Yet it's only like 10% of the population. And most of there are there are for, refugees and illegal aliens. So I don't believe the English people are putting these people in power. It's just that all the illegals are voting because look, folks, like I said, they don't care about your country or your laws. That's what's going to happen in America if we don't stop it now. So, of course, Democrats are flipping out, right? Because if, as they say, the blacks simply can't get the documents, well, that's mainly the Democrat Party. And Hispanics can't get the documents, that's mainly the Democrat Party. It's the truth. Somebody has to say it. If you guys like to support our channel because we were demonetized for information like this, look at the top of comments. We greatly appreciate anything that you can send, folks. If I gotta go, my husband just got in from work. I just wanted to say, go America. Thank you, President Trump. Saving our country one step at a time.